I hope that got caught. I'm clipping
Getting
that.
ready for the NBA Finals to start. First off, I'm in a torn spot as a Dallas Mavs fan. We're up 3-0. I'm not a huge fan, but it'd be pretty exciting to see the Mavs win as we're going to have a lighting adjustment pretty soon. Oh my God, I'm going to heaven. Oh my, the trumpets are going. I'm going off to heaven. Anyway, the Dallas Mavericks are up 3-0. Here's my dilemma as I enter in Wayne Gretzky, Wayne Goldsworthy, whoever he is.
Yes.
It's going to be a couple
It's
weeks.
Gretzky.
It's going to be a couple weeks. He's going to get on camera. He's getting closer and closer. In about a couple weeks, his pink shirt will be on camera.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into it. First off, listen, the Celtics are 1-4-0. We all thought that. I think I had Celtics in 6. He had
Really?
Celtics in 6.
I had the Pacers in 4.
Really?
I had them in 3.
The old forfeit.
Yeah. The Celtics were already down 3-0. They said, nah.
Here's my dilemma with the NBA playoffs. One side, I want the Mavs to close it out.
Mm-hmm.
On the other
Kyrie
side,
is undefeated in closeout games.
this is another closeout game. Well,
Mm-hmm.
15-0. On the other side, if the Mavs win today, the NBA is not on for 8 more days. And that means the most exciting thing on
It's NASCAR.
is going to be baseball or NHL playoffs. NASCAR is once every week. It's not like it's on.
Obviously, but like...
And they're racing at Worldwide Technology
Are they actually?
in St. Louis.
Never
Gateway Motorsports
Never
Park.
mind. Never mind.
Anyway,
Not a good race.
ain't nobody care about that.
I think I'll just watch the NHL
Speaking of
playoffs.
not a good race, did you see the F1 at Monaco?
All I saw was the big crash at the beginning with the car mutilated, but that's
Yeah,
literally
so
it.
the first lap was great, just because there was 3 different instances. So Carlos Sainz was running third. Third turn of the race, just said, "I'm not going to turn," and just locked it up, almost hit the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm watching. I'm like, "Oh, they threw a caution for that," and then they threw a red flag. I'm like, "That's not a red flag." And then they cut to Sergio Perez just mauled.
Yeah.
And while that was going on, teammates. So Monaco's very slow. So you round the corner at like 22 miles an hour, and this one teammate, another teammate, smacked into him, lifted his car up like that on the first lap. All not even related to each other within 15 seconds. And then after that, there was no passes. Monaco is so small.
Did that one guy win? He hasn't won an F1 race yet?
No, he's won.
Or he
6.
lives, or he's, no, it's his hometown.
He lives in Monaco,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
his hometown,
And he led every single lap.
How many laps?
78, all 78. But if you see here, you see how tight this track is. I mean, it's just, the barriers are not big at all.
Yikes.
I mean,
no wonder you can't even pass people.
So the top 10 finished where they started.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running 78 pace laps, basically. I mean, nobody made a pass. There was not one pass in the top 10.
How many miles is the track? 3?
A couple.
4? Nah, it's probably 5.
Something like that. Yeah, it's a smaller track compared to most of F1.
Well, yeah.
It's very tight and nobody can pass. And if you are going to pass, you're going to screw up your car. Anyway, we're not talking about the Formula 1 series right now.
Yeah, we gotta continue.
We're talking about balls.
We're talking about Kyle Larson not doing squat.
That's not
No,
balls. We're talking about the Eastern Conference finals. The Boston Celtics, welcome back to the NBA Finals. Just like in 2022, the Celtics are back. And I made the comparison on my own. I don't know if you saw. The Celtics are the 49ers of the NBA.
Yeah,
very good.
I saw the meme of that 2 months ago on
Yeah.
Ghetto Gronk. And he's like, the similarities between these teams. And it's the 49ers and the Celtics, the Cowboys and the... I forget. And then it was the Pistons and the Sixers, because they haven't...
They're in the same league.
No, it was... The Lions and the Pistons haven't been good... Lions and the Sixers haven't been good since the 90s. But...
What? The Sixers and the Lions? It makes no sense. The
I'm going to find it.
The Sixers have been in the playoffs for the last 7 years.
I'm finding it. I'm
It's not
finding
like
it. I'm finding
that's
it.
weird.
Stop.
Anyway, let's talk about the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Boston Celtics have moved on once again to the NBA Finals. Jason Tatum, first off, only 19 years old, has already played in 107 playoff games, which is just wild that the Boston Celtics are still a relatively young team at the core with Tatum, really...
Tatum's only 19, man. He's got a couple more years left in him.
with Tatum only really being 25, he has been out of the first round every time he's been in. I mean, his rookie year, he went up against LeBron and had that great dunk on him and whatnot. We've seen other times he's gone deep into the postseason, Eastern Conference Finals against Miami, I believe twice or three times since 2020. Of course, the NBA Finals against Golden State 2022, and then they played against Miami again. He is actually top 10 all time in points scored in Game Sevens. He has played many Game Sevens, and he actually had the record for most points in a Game 7 for about 22 hours until Curry broke it literally the next day. But yes, Jason Tatum had 50-something points in a Game 7. Just wild stuff. But anyway, Indiana with no Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard. Listen, I want to talk about this guy for a second. I think I see a lot of similarities between him and Jalen Brunson, okay? I'm not saying Andrew Nembhard's going to be an All-NBA first-team guy in the next year or two. What I'm saying is the situation is very different or very similar in terms of surprise team goes to the conference finals, just like Dallas did in 2022. Indiana, surprise team goes to the conference finals. Star gets hurt. Unproven second-round young guy comes in and plays really good. That's what Andrew Nembhard has been for the Pacers. Unfortunately, of course, they're done. They're gone. See you later, Indiana. Boston's playoff run. 4-1 against Miami, 4-1 against Cleveland, 4-0 against Indiana. They now rest for the maximum time they have. They're not going to play for another 8 days as the NBA Finals start on June the 6th. So is this one of the top handful of more impressive runs to the finals ever, considering they went 12-2 on their way?
Yeah, it is very impressive. Also, everybody complaining that they've played like no competition. That's why they're the 1 seed. They literally went. What did they go? 60. No. How many wins did they have?
64.
64 wins. And yeah.
And I've said this.
Like, yeah, granted, they haven't played teams that are hurt, they've played teams that are hurt, but they are still a good team.
Yeah.
Like,
of course, it's nowhere near Golden State 2017. Quite literally swept their way to the NBA Finals and only lost a game in the entire playoffs against Cleveland in the finals. They lost once. But for Boston,
out of 4, 8,
I'm not seeing
12, 16.
They went 16-1.
Yeah,
they went 16-1. I'm not really seeing the amount of respect for Boston. Maybe that is team fatigue, like we see in the NBA with voter fatigue.
And then there's people who have Celtics like sweeping like everybody. Like
they basically have.
Yeah, in the finals though. It's gonna be a good finals, but it's not gonna be like a full on Celtic sweep.
It might be. I like the Mavs. Best team I've seen as a Mavs fan, of course. They're probably going to go to the finals. By the way, if we retract on this podcast, NBA Finals, you said Wolves Celtics.
Yeah.
Right. At the beginning of the playoffs in April, about a month and a half ago, can you recall what I said?
Mavericks and Celtics.
What? That was whoa. That's
I'm not
crazy.
taking any crap from this. I'm literally 1 series away.
But I'm 0 series away. I literally have it down to.
All right, that's it. Timberwolves are coming back 4-3.
I'm sure.
Game 7. You watch.
Dallas. I like the game plan, not the game plan, but the blueprint laid out by Jason Kidd. From Dallas at their lowest point, which was last year ending the regular season. You go back, let's go in the time capsule 12 months ago. The questions around Dallas, okay? They had just given away Jalen Brunson, and he was an All-NBA player. They had acquired Kyrie Irving.
I always forget that Jalen Brunson was on the Mavs.
They drafted Luka and Brunson in the same draft class.
Well, didn't they? I thought they traded with the Hawks for Luka.
Yeah,
Luka and Trey, and then they
traded.
Still
got him in the draft.
All right.
But with Jalen Brunson leaving, going to New York, they got Kyrie Irving, and now Dallas. If you remember last year's trade deadline, the Suns went out and got Kevin Durant. The Lakers went out and made some moves, got some shooters. a bunch of teams made moves, and this was going to be the stacked West. In that conference and in that conversation was Dallas. They didn't even make the playoffs. Okay, but there's a play-in, right? They didn't even make the play-in. The Mavs with Kyrie down the stretch in 2023 went from about the 6th seed to the 11th seed and not even in the playoffs. What did that do? It put Dallas, Jason Kidd, Luka, Kyrie in a tough spot.
Yeah, on a hot seat. Not
Tough
really a
spot,
hot seat, but
especially for Jason Kidd. But the job he's
still
done.
a hot seat for Jason Kidd. That's
The job he's done. The little signings that have made all the difference for Dallas. Let's start with the NBA draft. 14th pick in the draft. They take a guy that didn't even start out of college in Derek Lively Jr. Didn't even start for Duke. And what has he done this year? All NBA second team, should have been All NBA first team, and is playing at a high level in the postseason. He'll be a multiple-time All-Star. The potential for Derek Lively is through the roof. He is a classic old-school center. I know you don't know much about the NBA in the past. The Mavs had a guy named Tyson Chandler who was
I've heard that name.
literally, he'd score 12 points, but he'd shoot 6 of 6. All 12 of those points would be on dunks. He'd get 4 blocks, and he'd play great defense. That's Derek Lively. He'll get 12 points. He is now shooting in this series against Minnesota 14 of 14. Just like what Daniel Gafford did. Listen, we were talking about it before. Daniel Gafford, in the regular season, had 2 stretches where he shot 31 of 31
He almost had
and 32 of 32.
Who has the thing like the record?
Right
above
now
him?
it's Wilt with like 34 out of 34. And Gafford was 2 away.
Well, 34 out of 30. Wouldn't that just be like layups and everything?
Yeah,
Yeah.
34 to 34 shots. Most consecutive shots made. Gafford had 31
so all you
and
have to do
32
is make a
twice. Twice. But to have 32, not be contested, not be blocked, not be
No,
anything.
I get that.
You know.
I get that.
Call me when you make 32 shots in a row in a game. You know,
Does against kindergartners count?
I still don't think you'd make 32 in a row.
Layups? I think I could.
You'd miss one layup.
Actually, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Hold on. Are we playing at the high school
At the high
basketball
school courts,
court?
you'd miss a lot of
Oh,
layups.
okay, yeah, never mind. Then I'm not making. I'd make like 2 in a row and then I'd miss.
But I think for Dallas, it's no coincidence that you have Derek Lively now shooting 14 of 14, and Gafford is shooting 30 of 30 in the regular season. Those guys don't just do that. The system Dallas has set up, if you watch any Mavs game, early in the game, it's Luka. If he can hit his first shot, that determines how the game goes. First off, funny thing about Luka.
If he starts getting his rhythm in the first.
Funniest
quarter,
thing
you
about
keep
Luka,
going.
if he hits a step back 3 to start the game, first bucket, right? He's coming down a court and heaving up a logo 3, and he never makes it.
Yeah.
Every time the commentator, Luka, step back 3 on the way, got it. And the Mavs lead by 3. Comes back up. Doncic to start out 2 for 2 and 6 points. No. Anytime he shoots a heat check, it ain't going in. But the system that's been set up, the Mavs have 3 huge lob threats. Daniel Gafford, who had an amazing play to end the finals, or to end the Western Conference Finals Game 3. They have Derek Jones Jr., and they have Derek Lively. They have the Twin Towers plus 1 if the Twin Towers had a mutation and did not get shot down. So they have the third towers. They have a third leg right up here in the Twin Towers.
They have a third leg.
But the role players for Dallas, they got P.J. Washington. They traded away Grant Williams, which, thank the Lord, Grant Williams is off my team. He was a bum. They traded away Grant Williams. They made all these moves. It's no coincidence that Dallas is just making a run. It's pretty clear, and we said it for a long time, at least I have.
That Jason Kidd is the best MVP. No, he's probably going to beat his wife or something after the finals. But
After the finals, I don't know.
Wait, no, yeah, he beat his wife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what. All right.
So I said, you don't want to give or put Luka in a spot where he's like LeBron in Cleveland didn't have help. You got to act now, because when you have a talent like that, organizations are not that guy does not come around too often. We only got 3 or 4 players on that level right now, right? And who knows how long they're going to stay. The Mavs set up Luka great. They set him up with inside protection, which, if you could remember correctly, last year, Dallas was rolling out JaVale frickin' McGee, starting at center for a lot of the games. JaVale McGee. What?
Okay, I'd have to assume this guy's bad. Like, bad.
You don't know JaVale McGee?
No.
Shaqtin' a Fool MVP, JaVale McGee.
Oh. Yeah.
Warriors legend. That's who they were starting at center
Yikes.
for a lot of their games. So
Yikes.
they did not go out and acquire a big-time player. And I've said it a million times. You can't really win with a star-heavy team. Dallas has a star-heavy team.
Like the Suns.
Dallas has a star-heavy team. The difference is, big difference as well, P.J. Washington,
coach beats
Daniel
us.
Gafford, Derek Lively. They have a bunch of other players that can come in and play great. Luka Doncic, though. We were on the podcast for the last 4 weeks, and I keep saying, how scary is this Mavs team? Because Luka hasn't turned it on yet. How scary? He'll come. He'll turn it on. He'll turn it on.
He'll come.
Every time I said that, I kind of had a little less confidence, right? Will he really? Will he really? Yeah, he will. Triple double in the first 2 games. Had 33. Kyrie and Luka combined for 33, or combined for 66. They both had 33. And I told you on the podcast when we had this matchup, Mavs Timberwolves, it's going to be that French guy is going to be on Luka Doncic, and I'm going to go bonjour. I'm going to go step back. Here's a 3. Bonjour, oui, step back. Here's a 3. Okay? And that's exactly what happened in the series. He got the French guy on him.
You see that video on Twitter when Jaden McDaniel switched with Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert was covering Luka, and everybody started booing. They went, boo.
But listen, you get Rudy Gobert in the
this
action.
guy won the Defensive Player of the Year.
Because he's a paint guy. I mean, he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year for guarding the freaking perimeter.
Victor Wembanyama.
So
actually, for perimeter, it'd probably be Drew Holiday.
Gobert would
definitely be Drew Holiday for perimeter.
Gobert was on skates. By the time Luka got the shot up, Gobert had a solid enough contest. But it's something when you're playing basketball and you got the guy moving, there's a lot more confidence in your shot, right? When you got him moving, you know, okay, I got him. I can hit him now. And it's a step back 3. Jamal Crawford, I saw a clip. He called it. He closed his eyes and said, this was before the timeout. He said, the ball's going to Luka. They're going to have, he's going to get it. He's going to have a step back 3. Rudy Gobert is going to be involved in play, and he's going to hop on one leg afterwards. That's exactly what happened. So I don't know. That means nothing to anything, but Dallas is up 3-0.
You just wanted to say that.
I just wanted to say that. Dallas is up 3-0. This has been a very competitive 3-game series. And we said it before when we were previewing the playoffs about a month and a half ago. There could be competitive sweeps. This is the exact definition of a competitive sweep. And Minnesota...
Yeah, the Mavs have won by 3 points, 1 point, and 9 points.
Yeah, so it's
a close... okay, hold on. The Celtics won by 3, 5, and then they won by 16 for 1.
Yes, the Pacers could be up 3-1 right now. Because the Pacers twice
they
had a 95+% chance to win, and then Game 4 last night had a 90% chance to win. So that's how quickly things can change.
I actually marked that down. I'm so proud of myself.
Wow.
I marked something down.
So don't count.
And I wrote all this gibberish, which I'm as we're going through this right now.
Don't count on us to do it again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't need any of this.
But Luka starts turning it on, and Kyrie Irving, right?
Does he turn you on?
Kyrie Irving, the fourth quarter score of my goodness, he scored 20 of his 33.
All right. You're glazing him now. You were
Glizzy
doing
overload. Glizzy overload.
You were doing fine about 5 minutes ago. Now it's just meat riding. Hold on.
Listen, can we stop calling everything meat riding?
No, it's just glaze.
Can we stop?
Everything is glazed.
Everything is glazing. That's a nice sky out there today.
You're glazing
the sky, bro. Oh my goodness, man, it's nice weather. You're glazing the weather, bro. You can't appreciate anything nowadays in this culture that we got. Dave McCormick's running for Senate, by the way. If you'd want to vote for him, he does not sponsor us. He looks like a little bitch.
Too bad I can't even vote. I don't even pay. The only thing I know is the presidential race, and all I know is that it's probably going to be Biden and Trump, and that's all I know.
June 27th, they're debating.
For what?
A debate.
Isn't that where they just yell at each other for 3 hours straight? Wait, isn't that where the thing don't talk smart to me? You graduated 3rd in your class at Delaware State or something like that.
Yeah, and then he's like,
"You're an idiot." No,
shut up, man.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Keep yapping. That's where yapping got a lot of a little motion.
Yeah, I don't care for politics.
It's Politics now is a lot more of the fun of it. It's more of a like it's an event. It's like a WWE Super Slam. I cannot wait for the presidential debate. I'm not taking any sides here, folks, but I just can't wait till the reporter asks the question, "How are you going to handle the economy?" And then whoever it is will be like, "Yeah, the economy's cool and all, but I hate my candidate over there. I hate that." And then the other guy, "Oh, you shut up, man. I'm the greatest." But I got hairy legs. When I'm I love Trump with his emotes though. He's got one emote and he just spams it everywhere. No matter where he's at, he's just spamming that emote. He needs to get his V-Bucks up right now.
Bud might need to get a couple more victory royales or something.
Get some crown royales.
Yeah.
So the NFL is still a league, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but like it is so dead. It is so dead right now.
Where do you even...
And we're hoping for not to be dead. So I'm going to have some discussions being brought up.
Mason, I have a question for you. Do the Jaguars finish better this year than last year?
Wow. That's a good question there, Wayne. Really.
Yep.
The Jags...
You literally shared to me what we're doing, so I'm asking you.
Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What is their schedule this year?
If you remember correctly...
Started out 10-1?
No.
Or
Whoa,
no,
whoa,
no.
whoa, that was the Eagles.
Yeah. They started out good, and then, like, they just, like, were
The
bad.
Jaguars were the number 1 seed halfway through the NFL season.
So I was off by a little bit.
They were
bad.
8-3.
I was off by 2... Oh, never mind.
They were 8-3. And, wow, Chiefs in the preseason might get them. I don't know. But Jacksonville, they were 8-3, and then they finished 8-9.
The Dolphins probably lost. Browns?
The problem with Jacksonville is I don't see them getting too much better. Losing Calvin Ridley.
So they probably lose that, win that, lose that.
Yeah, but you have viewers on this thing that you just can say. You can't just say lose that.
All right, well, Jaguars, Dolphins, I think
we're not getting into the whole record by record thing.
I'm just trying to see here. Dang.
Anyway.
Dang. I forget they played them twice a year. They play Colts twice a year.
Here's the problem with Jacksonville.
Yikes.
The division got a lot tougher compared to last year.
The Texans got better. A lot better.
Texans, Colts, and Titans got better.
Yeah.
I don't
think. Actually, no, because the Titans beat the Jaguars once last year.
That doesn't mean they're better than them. They just got better. Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley.
No, actually, yeah, I'll see. I could see the Titans winning one game against the Jaguars.
They can win both. I mean, it's the NFL, you know.
Yeah, obviously. Oh, they play the Lions.
So it's a tough schedule for Jacksonville. And I'm looking at the Jags right now.
They play the Patriots? God, it's over.
It's in a tough spot. Because if you would have talked to anybody 12 months ago, 2023, the Jags are on that pedestal with Baltimore and with, not, Kansas City. But then Baltimore.
They're not there at the juggernauts.
Buffalo, Jacksonville.
They're the contenders.
The problem
The
is...
playoff teams.
The problem is good doesn't cut it in the AFC.
You need to be great.
It does not cut it in the AFC.
You need to be elite.
They're great.
Shut up.
That's
why I said elite. After I said they're great, you have to be great. I was like, wow, I sound like Tony the Tiger from Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, good doesn't cut it in the AFC.
Bring out your tiger.
Because first off,
mighty
you
tiger.
you can beat some of the teams here. You're still waiting for that final boss. And what good does it do you if you can't beat the final boss?
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes and whatnot. But right now, okay, you look at the AFC. My goodness. CJ Stroud and them boys probably have the brightest future in the league. Joe Burrow's back, right? Baltimore is Baltimore. Cleveland's got Chubb back sometime, and Watson should play football like a human. That's 4 teams right there I've already named that I think I'd take over Jacksonville. In their own division. Anthony Richardson is set up for so much success, and he's going to be my dark horse.
If he doesn't get injured.
He's going to be my dark horse MVP pick this year.
All right, the meat riding stop. The glaze is insane.
Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, A.D. Mitchell, a good enough defense. The offensive line starts to play better. So Indy has gotten better. Tennessee, the margin from them in Jacksonville, it has shrunk, so there's less margin of error.
Imagine if the Colts kept Rodrigo Blankenship.
Okay. Kansas City is Kansas City.
Super Bowl already.
Kansas City's Kansas City. Chargers, who knows with Jim Harbaugh. And then Buffalo. Miami, and the New York Football Jets.
Why do you? Okay.
So the AFC is so tough. It's so tough. And I'm looking at Jacksonville, right? I go in every time I have an agenda, making a schedule.
Yes.
I'm high on the Colts. I want the Colts. I'm high on these guys. I'm high on these guys.
The Texans.
Until you actually got to pick the games. When Jacksonville this year, outside of their division, Miami, playoff team. Browns, playoff team. Bills, playoff team. Okay? Bears have improved a lot.
Lions, playoff team.
Packers, playoff team. Eagles, playoff team. Lions, playoff team. And then the other
Jets,
teams that were not playoff teams last year, they should be a walk in the park, right? No. Minnesota, maybe a walk in the park. The Jets, much improved. Raiders, Tennessee,
Titans.
whatever. And that's not even mentioning the division. When you play Houston twice and you play Indianapolis twice and Tennessee twice, you're probably favored in 3 of those games, maybe even 2, right? You're not favored against Houston twice. You're probably favored at home against Indy, favored on the road.
Okay, the spieling is going.
And then probably the same thing with Tennessee. Jacksonville.
So do you think they will finish with a similar record, worse, or higher?
I'm going to go with a worse record.
Okay. That's kind of what I was going with, too.
I'm going to go with a worse record, maybe slightly.
I just feel like the AFC,
they're going to be one of the best 7 and 10 teams in the league. They're going to be a good team. I mean, they're going to be a team that's not going to have a great record, but could beat anybody.
They'll probably be a 10 seed this year.
So Jacksonville's in a
Probably an 11 seed.
It's not like we count that.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Jacksonville's in a real tough spot because, we see so many guys wanting max contracts of quarterbacks. The only time you really want to give a max contract is if they're really freaking good. And if you ever, here's the thing, your motto should be about giving max quarterbacks the contracts. If you have to think about it, it's bad. If you have to be like, should we or should we not? You're getting a bad deal. Yeah. But if you're like, yeah, we'll do it,
It's like a no-brainer, like Patrick Mahomes versus somebody like
Trevor Lawrence.
Dak. Dak's kind of, if you want to give him max contract.
Dak's better than Trevor Lawrence.
Joe Burrow?
Trevor Lawrence is in that. Do we?
Joe Burrow.
He's in that. He's in that Brock Purdy.
Trevor Lawrence is probably right at 15.
He's that Trevor.
He's literally right in the middle.
He's the Trevor Lawrence, the Brock Purdy, the Baker Mayfield, that kind of echelon, Tua, that kind of guys of quarterbacks that you're like, should we give him max contract? I don't really know.
We have Colts 2024. You had them. Do they have a playoff chance?
Listen, I think it's a lot more than a playoff chance. I look at the situation that Anthony Richardson's built in Indianapolis. The fact that they went 9-8, they were a drop pass away from going to the playoffs.
Oh, stop!
I really like how it's set up. The rushing ability is insane. You got to calm down, Anthony Richardson. He gets hurt way too much. Look, when you play in the division, it's going to be a gauntlet. I mean, that Texans-Colts rivalry is going to be very fun. But I think Michael Pittman showed last year he's enough for a number one, a legit number one. He's enough. Jonathan Taylor is probably the best running back in the league based on pure running the football. Jonathan Taylor is probably the best. Okay?
They have a pretty
Richardson is set up in a nice Shane Steichen offense where we saw Jalen Hurts have a lot of success when he was the OC in Philadelphia. I think Indianapolis, I do this way too many times. I like a team and I go radical.
It's like the
what I'm
Chargers.
saying. I can't just like a team. I can't just like a team and be conservative. So as it stands right now, I'm going to have the Colts winning the division and an outside shot as the number one seed in the AFC.
I do not have the Colts. I have the Colts with a 10-7 or an 11-6 record, second in their division, and probably the 6th seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's fine. That's probably more accurate, but I'm big on Indianapolis.
That was like you and the Chargers last year. You were.
It will be them next year too.
Give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers.
It'll be me this year too. But I think they're just set up so well for success, and this is a stable. The Colts just feel like a stable organization. They feel like an organization that would never run a very talented quarterback out of town because he gets hurt too much. I just think that would never happen with a team like Indianapolis. They would just never.
The fact, oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. I had to think about who the hell you were talking about. I literally went from Peyton Manning to Anthony Richardson. I forgot about a decade of Colts history right there.
And Peyton Manning they kicked out. So I mean,
how did I forget? Oh my god.
I mean,
how did I forget Gardner Minshew? No.
And Phillip Rivers.
God.
And
Matt Ryan, bro. How did I forget about all of them?
That Colts run from 2019 to 2021, Jacoby Brissett, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers. Has to be the weirdest assortment.
No,
of
it's like when you lose your franchise. It's like when you lose your franchise quarterback, you go through that like 3-4 year stint where you're just finding a quarterback or you're drafting quarterbacks.
And they did not draft a QB. They just
I know. They said no. We Jacoby Brissett's our QB1, man. Phillip Rivers is our QB1.
Ryan, and then who'd they have before Anthony Richardson? Carson Wentz. Oh, him too. Oh my God.
Carson Wentz is just that backup for eternity until he gets like that. Oh, the Colts with Carson Wentz almost made the playoffs, but he threw that pick to the Titans. He was falling backwards or something in the end zone, and he chucked the ball up, and the Titans picked it, and they won that game, which threw them out of playoff contention as well.
And then they lost to the Ravens, right?
Yeah, so they've had 2 times where they've been out of playoffs within the past 2 weeks where they had a chance, and then the last 2 weeks they just blew it.
Phillip Rivers took the Colts to the playoffs, which just weird to hear. Finally, Seattle. And, it's tough to kind of find these topics because the NFL is dead. So if you want any topics we should talk about, let us know, and we'll try to discuss them. Just because we're making artificial discussions. This is nothing that stems from anything. Usually we want something that we talk about stems from stuff, and the last 20 minutes of this episode just can't do it because the NFL is dead. So let's get into the Seattle Seahawks. And they were in a weird spot after Russell Wilson left. This was a team that went so secure in the playoffs.
Oh my God,
They were probably the most consistent team in the league from 2012 to 2021. Just what you're going to get at Seattle, right? You're going to get great defensive play. You're going to get great running ability from their backs, and then Russell Wilson's going to have to do a little, not a little, but.
Everybody is playing the Dolphins. Oh, my God.
He's going to be put in a spot where he doesn't have to do all too much.
Oh, they get to play the Broncos again.
And then they kind of let Russ cook. They unleashed him. And then DK and Lockett and those guys.
Yikes.
They are at a spot now where they're stuck. They are so stuck. Okay? Because if you look at the team, last year, mid. Year before, mid. Okay? They had their one run with Geno Smith where they were leading the 49ers in the wild card game. And now Geno Smith's on a big contract, and they're stuck. I kind of
called it after that 1 year. I was like, he's just going to be mid from that year on out. And
this past year, he was fine. But what I'm saying is he's stuck. Because just looking at the stats from Geno Smith, you're like, it's not that bad, right? But at the same time, it's like, when's mediocre going to get you a win?
It's like who were we just talking about like a week ago? They just stay mid, and you're right there at a decent draft pick, but you're not making
the Steelers.
Yeah.
So that's what the Colts are. The Seahawks are stuck in purgatory.
You're staying there. Yeah, that. You just stay at the middle of the pack. No, Mason. Oh my God. I'm trying to describe the Seahawks. They've stayed there. They get right there. They're like right at the playoffs, and then it's like week 16. That's when they'll get eliminated, or week 17. And then it just gets to the point of where you don't have a great draft pick. You don't have a bad one either. You're getting a decent player, but you're also not doing anything. You're not making playoffs. You're not, like, at a certain point, you've got to just get rid of something to either get a good draft pick or you got to trade for somebody to go up into the playoffs.
Yeah. So they're in a bad spot. And too easily we say, okay, you're being average, just tank, okay? And seems fine, right? Until you actually get into the logistics of the locker room and those guys that you had for years, you grow a connection with. Pete Carroll's now gone. There is so much uncertainty with the Seahawks that it scares me because they've just been such a solid team for so long. Pete Carroll's gone. Mike McDonald comes in as the Seahawks try to kind of reinstill that defensive values. They got some great secondary pieces before they let Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams go. They let some guys go. They still have a really good
Damn, what time is
secondary
it?
with Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. So
Ooh, yikes.
this Seattle team is so stuck, and I'm going to predict them to win 7 or 8 games. And the Seahawks,
That's exactly
the
what I have
Seahawks,
them doing.
a lot of teams like the Chargers, you could have them winning 6 or 10, and I wouldn't be shocked. Seattle, if you don't have them winning 7 or 8, that's their window. That's such a small window. 7 or 8.
I have them at like 7-9. 7-9.
9 is a little bit much. 7 to 8 is like 9.
That's like they're guaranteed.
But
to
if
get
you
that,
go 10 or 6, I'm shocked. So I don't know what Seattle has to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the blueprint is.
I'm not in their front office.
Figure it
I'm not
out.
making the choices,
12s, Flock Nation. Look, Seattle's one of the teams I like. Like, just like from a vibe standpoint, like Seattle, they got good uniforms all the time.
Yes.
And it's just because my childhood, that was, it was Cam Chancellor. It was Earl Thomas.
It was literally the
Richard
Legion of
Sherman.
Boom.
It was Russell Wilson.
You
It was
put me on a
Marshawn.
sorry wide receiver like Crabtree. That's all you gonna get.
Don't you ever talk about me like that. Who's talking about you? Crabtree. It was Russell Wilson. It was Marshawn Lynch. It was Doug
Baldwin.
It was Jermaine Kearse. It was
Young
Bruce Irvin,
Tyler
Cliff
Lockett.
Averill. They were just a fun team. And, the NFL is better. There's some teams. When the Packers are good, the NFL's better. When the Steelers are good, the NFL's better. When the Niners are good. When, these historic teams, Seattle is one for me. Let's get into college football. As the anticipation for college
I
football.
don't like my list. I'm gonna get flamed here.
Yeah, by all the people watching. We just are getting flocked and everybody's watching. But right now, college football, the
I think we just kind of have to
anticipation.
go through who we have because we're gonna have to get. You're gonna have to get going here. So.
15 minutes. College football anticipation is growing. I think it's different.
Should we start 12-1 or 1?
12 to 1.
Okay.
Just because of how different it is, I fully really don't understand everything. We'll have to see when it plays out. The conference realignment, is it good for me? The initial reaction, I say no, just because of traditions and whatnot. I could be proven wrong. It could be great. Okay,
I just like the 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
More football.
Yeah. The uncertainty is something, and I just can't wait for those December months where it's 4 college football playoff games on Saturday, NFL on Sunday, like holiday break, all the whole 9. So let's get into it.
Isn't your hot take that 2024 and 2025 will be the
Best sports year ever. That like
Is this what people in like 2015 felt? They were like, oh.
2016
Ooh.
literally
2016 was peak year of sports.
it was the peak year of sports in everything. Like you look at everything, and I'll go off on a tangent here. You literally had the greatest NBA team of all time in wins against the most popular athlete of the 2000s in America, go up 3-1, get a comeback, block, and they beat the best team of all time. Okay? In football, the second most popular quarterback of the 2000s in that decade, on that amazing defense, shuts down the top guy in Cam Newton, and the Broncos win the Super Bowl. The Chicago Cubs, who hadn't won a World Series in 100 years, go to Game 7, win the World Series. All the stars. I mean,
pretty sure that was when the Penguins won their Stanley Cup.
Hunter Renfroe against Alabama. 3 seconds left, touchdown to win the national championship. Conor McGregor in the UFC was the most electrifying thing the world has ever seen. That's a little bit far. But
you're almost there. But
his rise.
Nico Collins, 3-year contract extension.
Okay. So everything in that year, I don't know if it'll ever will be topped, just because it's like, man, teams aren't as good as they were. We're never going to see a 73-win team. And you know what happened a month later? The biggest hating of signing ever, Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. So that just whole time, wild. Let me stop glazing. Wasn't glazing then, huh? Just anything.
Everybody agrees with you on that.
Messi, Ronaldo, like everybody was there. Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, like everybody who's everybody was there. In the sports world. Let's get into our top 12 college football playoff. Let's go over some ground rules. First off, the top 4 seeded conference champions are 1 to 4. They would have a first round bye. There has to be at least one non-Power 5 school in there, and we'll have to see who that is soon. Notre Dame counts as a non-Power 5. A lot of interesting teams. In college football, it's kind of the same way. There's some teams that when they're good, the sport's good. Texas, Alabama.
Okay, you're just yapping. Can we get on this top 12
Some,
already?
so let's get in the top 12. My number 12 is I might have them a little bit low because I have some agendas to push, some buttons to pull, some strings to be attached, some whispers to go into the wind, some vines to go through the grapes. Number 12, Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin might be my favorite coach in college football right now since Nick Saban got left. He's a fun guy. Get your popcorn ready as he proceeds to lose 35-0. You ever see that?
Wasn't it against
Alabama? Lane Kiffin was big assistant with Saban, and then they kind of left, and he's like, "Oh, you got all the secrets, don't you?" And he just goes, "Yeah." Like, he doesn't respond anymore, and then he's like, "What should we expect today? Get your popcorn ready." And he throws the mic. And then halftime here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama 28.
the funniest thing
Ole
is
Miss 0.
the funniest thing for me is Vanderbilt versus Alabama. He's like,
You're gonna
see what real football is,
It
and
didn't
then they're
sound
down
like
like
that.
42-0,
You play some SEC ball, Alabama. You're next.
and then it's,
Convincing win for Alabama, 59-0.
yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of 2016, Alabama was at their best. Everybody wanted them.
Yeah, that too.
My number 12, Ole Miss, like I said, Jackson Dart, Lane Kiffin. They got enough weapons. The SEC's daunting, and I have, let me count them here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SEC schools in this. So it's tough. Hey, we could see a
I
team.
have 3.
Depend,
No, 4. I have 4.
Depending how the committee views it, we could see a team go 7-5 and make the playoff. Like 7-5 is a little bit much. 8-4 is going to make the playoff, I think, in the next couple years. Just considering how tough the SEC is. So Ole Miss is my number 12. They bring back Jackson Dart, Lane Kiffin, and all those boys.
My number 12 is Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Riley Leonard is back. Who's their coach? Marcus Freeman. He's done an okay job. Notre Dame's still trying to get back to the Ian Book time of a couple of years ago with
Chase Claypool as well.
Brian Kelly.
Chase Claypool.
And the best St. Brown.
Equinemius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 11.
Yeah, because Amon-Ra went to USC.
My number 11 is Notre Dame. I'll go with Notre Dame at 11. They bring in Riley Leonard. It's just, they got to make the playoff. I mean, if you're playing against, you're going up against non-Power 5 schools, it's you or
I gotta
Tulane.
take a piss, bro. Oh my god.
It's you or Tulane. Like, you can't get beat out by Tulane. You're 11.
My 11 is Michigan.
Wow. The defending national champs at 11.
Yeah. Big Ten got bigger. Their team lost a decent amount of players. Their team lost all their starters. Granted, people have them out of the playoffs. This is a Power 5 school. It's not like they have nobody's
They just won the
coming
national
in.
title.
They have no, but everybody's like, oh, they're losing everybody. They're not going to be good this year. Well, this is
it's the Michigan
they're
Wolverines.
getting 4. They're getting 4 stars, 5 stars on the regular. They're still going to be a good team. It's just they got to get their chemistry.
My number 10 is going to be USC. A little bit under the radar type team. I'll put my faith in Lincoln Riley. I think their quarterback, Miller Moss or somebody, had the 6-touchdown game in the bowl game. Zachariah Branch is back. They fired their defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, who is probably the worst defensive coordinator in college football history. I'm not going to go that far. But I have USC as my number 10.
At my number 10, I have Penn State.
Penn State. I don't have Penn State here. I just look at Penn State as...
Well, I looked at their schedule. They have 2 losses probably this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Oregon and Ohio State.
Yeah. Not Michigan?
The rest of their team, they don't
You
play Michigan.
Wow.
It's subbed out Michigan with Oregon. So
Okay. That's about, same.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I'm not going to have Penn State in there just because I expected more progression from Drew Aller and Nick Singleton than I saw. And Nick Singleton's best year was his freshman year.
You're also higher on other teams. So it's like...
Yeah, I'm not like... I am a Penn State hater. No, just kidding. I am. Screw Penn State. Jerry Sandusky. Bring him back.
Man, let me get them little kids.
Number 9, there's an orgy in the end zone. There's an orgy at the number 9 seed. Michigan is the number 9 seed. They still have...
I hope Alex Orgy has a good year. I'm really high on him. But at the same time, I just don't know if...
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
My number 9, I have Mizzou, the Missouri Tigers.
It's a great pick. It's an amazing pick because I have them as my number 8, the Missouri Tigers. Luther Burden is the best receiver in college football, maybe the best player in college football.
Well, who else?
Brady
Travis
Cook.
Hunter? I don't know. Hold on. It was just a suggestion. I'm not saying he's better. It's just a suggestion.
I'll take that back. There's a
yeah, isn't there that Tennessee edge?
Tennessee edge. James Pierce was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
A little bit for Tennessee. He's probably the odds-on number one pick right now.
28 tackles, 14 and a half tackles for loss,
Right, so
10 sacks, 16 QB.
He's pretty good. Second or tied for the lead in the SEC in sacks.
Probably Dallas Turner had the same.
As a sophomore, is pretty darn good. So yeah. Anyway,
my number 8, I have Alabama.
Okay. I'm still talking about Mizzou.
Yeah, well, at my number 8, I have Alabama.
I want to see if that guy's back. No, he's not. He's going to Combine.
Yeah.
He's 24.
Yikes.
Yeah, Mizzou kind of caught my eye.
He's at the 49ers, too.
Mizzou kind of caught my eye. Last year, they just blew teams out, especially Tennessee. My number 7 is Alabama. I think Jalen Milroe is a great pick for a second-tier Heisman. I mean, look at the top. The top guys are Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, honestly, Heisman voting it's probably going to be Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders. However their season goes.
Jalen
Milroe, Carson Beck, and
Charlie Ward.
Who else?
I just told you.
This guy is not serious, bro. That's basically that guy's 53. Can he qualify for the Heisman? Actually,
is his name not Charlie Ward?
Isn't it Cam Ward?
Cam Ward.
Are you thinking of the Miami quarterback?
Yeah,
that's who you're thinking of.
I'm mad.
Yeah. Charlie Ward, Jesus.
So,
Lord.
yeah, I have Alabama at 7. They'll still be fine. It's Alabama. Roll Tide.
And for me at number 7, I have Ole Miss.
You're high on the Ole Miss.
You're
high on the
Ole
Rebels.
Miss.
It's a tough. They've been another team for a long time. Not a long time, about 3 years since Lane got there.
I just feel like
just
this year.
Very solid.
I feel like this year
top 10 team every year.
Yeah, they've been at the 10 spot. I feel like this year they just get that. They get over this hump a little bit, not all the way, but they get over it a little bit and they get more wins than what
I'm not just saying this because they played in a bowl game this past year. Them and Penn State over like the last 3 years have just been
they've been 10 and 11.
Yeah, for
like
about
every single year.
Every year. Now my number 6 is Texas. They have a chance at. I think I put them at 6. They could be number 1. Texas is really, really good. Probably the best Texas has been entering a season since 04, 05, Vince Young and those boys. Maybe not. Maybe, what's the guy's name? Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Days in Texas in maybe 2008, 2009.
I thought that was 24. No.
No.
Because, it was Colt McCoy. Didn't he get injured in, the playoff game against...
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the best Texas has been entering a year in a long time. Another tough schedule. They're playing... who they play? They play Washington early in the season, I believe. So, yeah, I'll go Texas at 6.
I also have Texas at 6. And I'm pretty sure we have the same 5 as well.
No, my number 5 is Oregon. They're the best non-conference winner. They could, of course, win the conference. Dylan Gabriel and those boys are going to be ready to play.
I also have Oregon as my number 5. So the playoffs would go, these 4 have byes. 5 play 12, 6 play 11, and so on and so on. Okay.
Let's get into the top 4 conference champions. I would like to say my number 4 team is not better than my 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11, or 12.
It's just how
it's going to go. And this team might not even be here. They have to basically win the conference. It's the top 4 ranked conference champs. So let's say the American champion's ranked higher than the Big 12 champ. The American champ's the number 4 seed. Highly unlikely. But my number 4 team is going to be Kansas State. There's not much to pick from in the Big 12. I could see West Virginia. I could see Kansas with Jalen Daniels. I could see Texas Tech.
Big 12? That's who it is.
Yeah. But I'm going to go with Kansas State. I could see Mike Gundy's boys in Oklahoma State. There's a lot of solid enough teams.
Who is in the Big 12?
There's a lot of solid enough teams. But there's not a lot of, big-time teams.
This is this year's,
I'm going to change my pick. I'm going to go with Arizona at number 4. I did not know they were in the Big 12.
So this is this year's.
I'm going to go with Arizona in the Big 12. The way they ended last year was just incredible. I think it's either them or Utah right now in the Big 12. I'm going to go Arizona as my 4 seed.
I'm gonna have Oklahoma State. Coming
Oklahoma
out.
State, Mike Gundy's Cowboys are to the number 4 seed.
I feel like they're gonna have same year as last year, but they have easier They have an easier schedule. Shouldn't say competition. They have an easier schedule than what they had last year.
Same year as last year, so they're going to lose 31-7 to South Alabama.
No, but like they were also like 7-3.
Yeah, they got hot. And how about you want to talk about a Heisman, Ollie Gordon the third or
Yeah.
junior or whatever?
He stays, so I have
Boy!
Oklahoma State for my Big 12
Yeah,
champions.
they're going to be really good. Number 3 is the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, I also
Another
have Clemson.
case of Clemson is good enough. Dabo Sweeney.
They're good enough for the They're in the ACC. Yeah, they're good enough for the ACC.
We'll see if Florida State can keep going.
Miami.
Isn't DJU at Florida State?
Yes.
DJ Walungale, he's getting passed around. I mean, he was at Clemson, and then he was at.
He gets passed
Did he
around more
play
than
at all at
Oklahoma
Michigan
State.
State? Didn't he go to Michigan State for like a day?
I thought that was DJ. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck you spell his name.
So he went to Oregon State. No, maybe he didn't go to Michigan State. I just thought he would because the coach went. But yeah, he's been out on his third team.
Oregon State,
And some good
Clemson, and now
And now Florida State. So yeah, that's Florida State should be ready to lock and load, but again, had a lot of guys missing, and yeah, I think Florida State does go undefeated next year, but I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, so
to get Florida State in.
Clemson, Oregon State, and
You're number 3.
my number 3 is Clemson.
My number 2 is the Ohio State Buckeyes. They built a squad. I mean, they built a squad. Caleb Downs, Will Howard, all those boys. They're my number 2.
My number 2 is also Ohio State.
And number 1.
My number 2 is actually Oregon State University.
Really? My number 1, they were number 1 2 years ago. They're number 1 5 years ago. They'll be number 1 in 5 years. Go Dogs. Georgia Bulldogs. That'll do it for this episode of Talk About Balls.
My
We'll have
number
the
1 is
NBA
also Georgia.
We'll have the NBA Finals next week, and then we'll talk about whatever the hell else we want. We'll see you next week.